Good morning, everybody. This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we're doing our best to be the bridge between investors, real estate, and other industries and helping bridge those people into crypto, which we feel like is the biggest opportunity over the next few years, and it's not even close. So if those are topics that are interesting to you, you're in the right place. We're pumped to have everybody on this morning. We've got the open mic show. I'll go ahead and drop the link in the comments. Feel free to come in. There's lots of cool things to chat about today. So we're pumped to have you guys. Corey, take it away.
Absolutely. Corey Geary here and streaming from the beautiful island of Puerto Rico, where we are going to, use cryptocurrency as a wealth creation tool and then use real estate as that wealth preservation tool, down the road when it comes time for taking those profits. And so, yes, it's been super exciting to be on this journey with all you Hexicans, with all our real estate buddies and our family. It's been an absolute blessing. And I could not express my gratitude enough for you guys watching our show, being here with us. It's been amazing. So, yeah, we've had a kind of, in my opinion, more of a quiet week. We were off for streaming for a few days. We were at a mastermind out in Chicago. And that was fun because we are probably going to onboard another 5 to 10 real estate guys. And I mean, some of these guys have some big pocketbooks too. So it's really exciting to onboard big money into this space. But I don't know what's going on this week. I don't even know what, maybe I missed some, I haven't been really in touch with Twitter, which is nice. Like, guys, when you get out of Twitter, sometimes it feels good. Like, because Twitter can be so toxic, but then you miss what's going on in the ecosystem and the news. I know Fux is I love the Fux protocol. I'm earning some pretty juicy yield in there, although it's already gone down about 80 to 90%. My yield has, but it's still performing pretty well. So it's I'm enjoying the Fux protocol. I compounded my Fux into more VFux while I was out in Chicago. And I'm loving that ecosystem. I'm probably going to pull, and I know this is going to be a talking point. The Ink token is absolutely getting demolished against Pulse and PulseX. So if you guys have liquidity in the Ink Pulse or Ink PulseX farm, just something to take note of. I'm not saying pull it because I don't want you to get wrecked if the Ink starts to move up against Pulse or PulseX, but man, I checked it this morning and I am getting demolished, which I don't mind. I don't mind picking up some more Ink with my PulseX bag because I only provide liquidity with about a 5% of my bag anyway. So I go in with the expectation and knowing that I could suffer some impermanent loss on one side of the equation, which I am totally fine with. But it's good to know and point out we are just getting freaking wrecked against the Ink versus the PulseX pair or Ink versus the Pulse pair. So, and Dane, go ahead and if you look in the right-hand corner up there, hit the 3 dots for me, and you can put it in price of Ink. What does that say? Or invert pair. You might have to go down and actually and do wait. What is that there by the? You can put there. It is. Put the price in Ink. You see it up there at the top? It's next to the X.
Oh, right here?
Yeah. Click that for me. Okay. Now invert it again. Go ahead and invert that again. Invert it again, and you're going to up there at the top of the 3 dots. The 3 dots will invert it. And then now you're going to see how wrecked we're getting. There you go. There's the right chart. It is just, nothing but down to the right, absolutely getting demolished as far as permanent losses going. But I don't mind because, like I said, I have a very small bag inside this pair. It's earning about 130% APY, which is very nice. But as far as what's going on in here is your PulseX is buying more Ink. Or if you have it, it's the same in Pulse too, because Pulse is just as bad. So whatever the other side of the token, you're buying that bag is what you're doing.
And you're talking about if you're providing liquidity in any of the Ink PulseX pairs, right?
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That is absolutely correct. So know that, guys, and it could change. It could switch around. We don't know at any given time when RH might add a new ink incentive pair. Could happen. I don't know. Might not happen. Who knows? But if that were to happen, that would obviously incentivize the market to start buying up ink again. Because what's happening, guys, is people are earning ink and they're swapping it out continuously for Pulse and PulseX. That's what they're doing. They value Pulse and PulseX greater than ink. So they're just swapping it out as they're earning it. And so, yeah, it's I checked that this morning. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I even thought about pooling that farm and putting it into the Fux pool, but I'm going to let it ride for a little bit longer. Like I said, I had no problem suffering the impermanent loss with the amount of liquidity that I provided because I only provided such a small amount. So,
sure. And it's interesting to consider. Richard Hart talks a lot about Hart's law and bonding things and liquidity, and you could see something like, well, let's compare it. So Pulsex and Pulse have been moving pretty close to one another. In fact, let's go ahead.
It's my favorite farm. It's the farm that probably has that's not suffered basically almost no impermanent loss, but it's also paying it's really starting to pay some very weak APY.
Right.
So safe place to put your money and earn some yield for sure. But man, it's just like I'd rather throw all my Pulse in a validator.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Because if you look at the farm, I mean, it's only 22%. This is on V1, on V2. Let's see where it's at.
Oh, it's actually pretty decent, Dane. Go to the pools, and you're going to see that those pools have increased tremendously since we have last talked about it. Yeah, go click the three dots.
We got to go to info, right?
Go to info, and then go to pools at the top. There should be a pools tab. Oh, right, there you go.
Pulsex and Pulse.
What is it? 20? Oh, it's 31%. 31.39%. So the V2 pool now is paying more in monetary value than the V1 farm.
Right. And you're making returns in the assets that you're providing liquidity in. So your Pulsex and your Pulse, that's what you're earning incentives in. And so you're going to theoretically, I mean, and there's been a lot of people that have talked about the ink token being, potentially back to Hart's law, potentially moving with these others. But so far, the market is indicating that they'd rather sell it off for other things, which is happening now. So even if I would venture to say that even if Richard creates a new farm that pairs ink with something else, I mean, the reason we saw this parabolic run, in my opinion, on ink early on is because those ink pairs came out and nobody had ink. They hadn't earned it yet. Right. And so the only, or pretty much the only way was to buy it off the market if you wanted to be in those pools in more, in a somewhat more substantial manner. And so we saw this parabolic run. At this point, a lot of the people that wanted to be in the farms, they've been earning ink for over a month. And I would venture to say that a lot of them, they're just not going to need to buy it anymore because they've been earning it for a month. Yep. So I wouldn't feel real bullish to bet on buying ink again, even if there was another ink pair. I don't think we'll see. I have a hard time seeing a pump like this again based off just having another ink pair in the farms.
It could be a while for sure. It would be I could see something like these APYs keep dropping. Maybe 6 months go by and it's like 10% APY, and then RH comes with a brand new ink pair that's going to pump 3,000% APY, right? Something crazy like that would do it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
But so right now, I'm just chilling, man. I might even, I don't know. I'm considering pulling the PulseX ink farm, even though I don't mind my impermanent loss, but maybe I can put it over into the Fux protocol, and I don't know. I'm gonna play with some numbers. So
yeah. And I think that's a great point that you made. I mean, in the farms, you're earning 22% APR right now on Pulse and Pulsex, but it's in ink, which is just going down and to the right compared to Pulsex and Pulse. Whereas over here, you're getting better APRs, 31%, and you're earning it in Pulse and Pulsex, which, in our opinion, has a far more greater likelihood of going up and to the right over the next couple of years.
Absolutely, 100%. I like this pool, this particular pool now more than the farm, and that's a little bananas because it was flipped. I remember this was like, it was something ridiculously low, like what was that, like 10% or 8%, and then the farm was like 50 or 60% at that time, and so so now here we are.
Agreed. Now I'm glad I left my little position that I put in here early on.
I did too. I put a little position in there too. Yeah, I did the same.
Yeah. And I think this is a great comment. It's funny how we view 22% APY is low when in the real world, banking finance people are feeling good with 5%.
100%.
It's true.
We are spoiled in crypto. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. One of the things I wanted to talk about too, so Corey and I just got back, like Corey mentioned, we just got back from a real estate mastermind where we went and we enjoy networking with those guys. And the reason that we go is to be able to, is twofold really. It's to help onboard those guys and help them understand the opportunity that is crypto now and buying near the bottom of the market. And it's also to be able to talk about our group and our mastermind, to be able to show those guys how we can hold their hand, get them into the RH stuff, make it really simple. And that's been really cool. And like Corey said, some of the people, I mean, it's wild. There's guys there and ladies that own tens of thousands of units of real estate, have huge venture capital funds that are lending on deals, that are doing all sorts of interesting things. And the sentiment with a lot of those guys is very crypto positive. I've seen some people on Twitter saying it was a Twitter space, and Buck was talking to Funding Jim, and he's like, how's onboarding like right now, Gary? And and Gary gave his feedback. In our experience, it's good. In our experience, it's pretty favorable, especially right now with real estate people. If you position crypto in such a way where you say, hey, right now buying crypto is like buying real estate back in 2010 when the market had largely bottomed and just slaying the market. And I'm telling you guys, in every single real estate circle I've ever been a part of, without fail, there's always somebody that says, oh, wouldn't it be nice to be able to go back to 2010 and we just buy everything that we possibly could and we'd hold on to it till 2021 and then we'd sell the top. And so we tell them the same thing. We said, look, you would say that you would go back to 2010 and buy everything. And this is the same opportunity in crypto. Don't let this one pass you by. And it resounds well, I think. So that's really bullish. We're excited for the opportunity. And I think a lot of people are in a place right now where they want to see, right? They're waiting to see the market come back to life. They're waiting to see some green candles. And I would argue there's a lot of wisdom in that, and waiting to see some reversal patterns before they really start going in really hot and heavy. So a lot of really bullishness there. You got the Bitcoin ETF. In fact, let's go ahead and talk about that. What a bunch of freaking jokers, man. This is all. I'm telling you, I was not much of a conspiracy theorist before getting into crypto. And now that I am, I just feel like the curtains have parted and so many things are made plain. The government and the SEC coming out and flooding crypto as hard as they could, all for having I think it was like 6 large entities, including BlackRock, that came out and applied for a Bitcoin ETF. Is that what you understand as well, Corey?
That's exactly what happened. I mean, they fudded, like literally sued Binance, sued Coinbase, who, by the way, BlackRock is using for the ETF. What? And then here's a list of 64 cryptocurrencies that are securities. And then 1 week later, hey, BlackRock is filing an ETF. By the way, it's probably 98% approval that they're going to get it. Like through Coinbase. What? Oh my God, bro. Like he's talking about a poker player showing their hand, or giving a tail. And now like, man, that's it. You guys have shown your hand. We know what you're doing. You guys are full of it.
Oh,
I'm glad you're going to pump our bags, but no more of the BS. You guys are so stupid. Yeah, go sue who you want. Yeah, okay, these guys are security. Yeah, I'm sure. Wink, wink.
Yeah, it's just remarkable to watch and see it unfold real time, to see all the lies, all the deceit. And we talked about it on a few shows ago where the playbook, it appears like things are panning out in such a way, it's following the same playbook as China, where they went and they fudded Bitcoin, they fudded the entire crypto market, all the turnaround, launch their CBDC, and then say, oh, by the way, we're back on board with crypto. Things are cool again. And the opportunity to be able to front run all of those guys for the most part is a remarkable opportunity that I couldn't be more excited about. I couldn't be more bullish for what's being built, for where we're at in the Richard Hart ecosystem. And still, I mean, of the 200 protocols roughly that were sacrificed for, now some of them are rugs, so not all of them are going to actually release a protocol, but most of them haven't even launched anything on Pulsechain yet. And frankly, if I was a founder, I could see waiting a little bit still with the market doing what it's doing. There's word of some of those guys not wanting to do anything until near the end of this year, closer to the Bitcoin halving. And I just think we're lined up so seamlessly. It's pretty remarkable.
Yep, I agree 120%. And why not let some of this volatility and AKA weak hands, if you will, kind of, get out of the whole Pulsechain ecosystem, especially some of these bigger players or, who have really done well on the Hex they sacrificed, and now they've done well from their multiplier. Pulse, let him get out, and then that way, because we know if you launch a protocol, and Buck was even talking about this last night on a YouTube channel I was listening to when I was on the plane. When you launch a protocol in an ecosystem where there's a lot more downward pressure, it affects your protocol too in a lot of ways. It's just because you're playing in the city, if you will, that is kind of losing value. That city is losing value. So the little real estate or businesses in the city most likely will lose value too. Not always. Sometimes you can have short-term pumps and then everything else that's going to go on, FOMO on that protocol because it just launched, whatever. But in the overall grand scheme of things, typically the whole city will go down in value. So like, why not wait for some of that volatility to kind of and then launch a protocol? And and when's the best time to get liquidity into your protocol? Well, it's when the main chain is pumping, because if Pulse is pumping and you launch a protocol, well, a lot of people could take profits. I know that this is like very controversial, but they can take profits off of Pulse and put it into your protocol, right? And there's liquidity there to transform around. And that's how I would think of it if I was a founder.
Yeah, agreed. So a lot of really cool bullish things that are coming our way. Got some good comments in here. I think so.
This could happen. I mean, it's not like it's out of the question, but I don't think it's likely.
And you see a lot of speculation like this. I mean, what if I won the lottery? What if,
sure.
What if my
house? You gotta play the lottery game to win it.
Yeah, right. So I mean, there's so much speculation. I think if you want to bet on ink, there certainly could be some cool things. But Richard has said time and time again. Now, Richard is shown to do things that are opposite of what he said in the past. So maybe this is all like a psyop. But he said that he doesn't care about ink. He doesn't care. It's his least interesting coin. And historically, when you look at tokens like this is what tends to happen. You have a pump followed by a downward trajectory, and it kind of stays there while everything else leaves it behind, which once again is not a big deal, seeing that it's getting given out for free if you're farming. So if you're farming and that's how you're earning it, then you can go and do whatever you want with it. And for me, I've been selling mine off and swapping it for other assets. I'm part of the red candles on that chart, and I feel really comfortable with that. Play. Yeah. Now I wish I had enough bags that I was impacting it real heavily, but I don't currently.
Now that being said, there's nothing wrong with holding a small little bag. Like I'm going to hold a tiny bag in comparison to my Pulse and Pulse X bag. Like it's a very tiny bag in comparison. If you, I haven't crunched the numbers, but it's small in comparison. And that's just so I have a tiny little stake in the game, and I'm okay with the downward pressure because my bag is so small. And then if something were to happen, that little degen in me, like I get to participate with my small little ink bag. But I'm with you, Dane. I really feel like there's going to be a lot more downward pressure. I didn't buy the narrative. I mean, you saw guys on Twitter and some of the OG Hexicans. Oh, ink is going to the moon. This is $1,000 coin. You just wait, because their bags were packed in that token. And you saw people on Twitter just going back and forth because that's the narrative they want you to buy into because of their bags, guys. Remember, crypto's PvP, and that's how they play the game. And they're going to dump on your head when you pump the bag up. When it goes 10x, what do? The guys who are pumping the bags, boom, on your head.
Right, absolutely. And it still could. Like, it could become $1,000 coin. It'll be interesting to see. Sure. I mean, there would need to be some bigger changes to do with ink. But that being said, ink does have the functionality in there where people can build protocols to burn it, kind of like Zen. So it'll be interesting to see as time goes on. And like Corey said, I think there could be some wisdom in holding a small position just to see. But yeah, we tell you guys what we're doing, and I've been selling my ink for other things.
Yep. And who knows, maybe we're wrong, and 1 month from now it does 100x. I mean, we just don't know. We can only tell you what we think and what we're doing, because this is not financial advice by any stretch of the measure.
Absolutely. And the thing about if you pack your bags in such a way with understanding that you're not going to play things perfectly. It's funny when a lot of people look back and they're like, oh, if I would have just put all my Ethereum and all my Bitcoin into Hex, I would have been up so much more. Well, I mean, Hex was unproven early on, and Richard was unproven. And sure, it would have been nice. Once again, like, I wish I would have gone and won the lottery. Like, you just don't know. And so you build your bags in such a way that you theoretically should be in a really good position. And some of the stuff is going to outperform others. We just don't know, and that's fine.
It goes with the ink, in my opinion, probably can only do as good as what Pulse can do. Pulse is the blue chip. If Pulse is going up, ink has the opportunity to go up depending on what's happening with the ink token around it. But man, if Pulse is getting demolished, then most likely ink is going to get demolished too because of the liquidity bonding. And it's that whole, like, I'm going to place my bets where I feel confident that, we're going to see the good gains. And ink is just kind of like trailing in that, my confidence in that. I'm going to put it in Pulse, man.
God, yeah, I like that. All my DCA swapping for Pulse. Yeah.
It goes into Pulse. I could swap out later if I really want to, but that's the main underlying currency to me, man. That's where I want to be. I want to be more and more Pulse, and I plan on keep building that bag. And that's it.
Agreed. I'm with you. Yeah, this is a fair point. But also keep in mind, so most no coiners, right, as much as it'd be nice to catch a 10,000x and have a huge runner, like a lot of the people that we talk to, they're like, man, if I can just get a 10x on my money, that'd be fabulous. Yeah. And so they don't need to buy the perfect bottom and have this extremely euphoric experience on a 10,000x. I think there's a lot of smart money waiting on the sidelines to see a reversal before they come in bigger. Now, me and Corey, we're in it. We want to try to catch the bottom, and we're comfy buying before seeing the reversal to see how we can position ourselves. But a lot of no coiners, they're fine just kind of hanging out. And even if they get a 10x or something like that, they're going to be pumped.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of smart money, man. You got to think about it in the real estate space, right? smart money is very happy with like, a 10 to 20% gains on their portfolio. Plus they get some cash flow, which is nice. And so when you talk about a 10X to these guys, and these guys got big money, like we're talking like large amounts, bigger than me and Dane and the guys we were talking with this weekend or this week, it's been just an absolute blast. But these guys, they get a 10X. Like I was talking to one of our members in the group, Dane, at the party, the one before you had the left, he's selling off of some of his portfolio. And then we're talking about some really, the numbers were just massive. I mean, we're talking about multiple millions of dollars. And so even if he's something like, man, if I get a 10X on my money, it's like it doubles my portfolio, like on my real estate. And because that number is so large that he's invested. And he goes, man, that's all I need and care about. Like if I get a 10X in this ecosystem, because those guys have put so much in, they're not needing, who needs a 10,000X, Dane? The pleb who invested $1,000.
Right.
I gotta say it. You know what I mean? Those guys need the 10,000X, and God bless their hearts. I hope they do get it because maybe they don't make much, and that's great. Crypto does offer the opportunities where you can kind of like hit the lottery, if you will. It does offer those opportunities, but just don't come into the space banking on it. You know what I mean? That's we see this right now a lot of in the community where a lot of people like you got Buck Fiat, right? I love the guy. Guys, by the way, Buck's going to be on our show next week. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
I've got some questions.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. We got Buck and Dylan coming on, so I'm excited about that one. He's one of my favorite guys in this space. He really is. But like, he's a very big advocate saying, hey, guys, just expect a 10X. And if we do 100, great. But he's like, he's very, very firm. We're not going to go better than 100X. That's kind of where his stance is at. So, who knows? And I hope he's proven wrong. But Buck's a smart dude, and he understands how money works. Even I would say more than I understand how money works. I have a basic foundation of like how money works. I feel like I've done good in my life, and I will continue to do good in my life. But he really understands markets, right? And so, yeah, it'll be fun to have this discussion. A lot of people on Twitter are arguing with them. No, Pulse can do a 10,000X. I don't know. I don't know.
What's your time horizon? Give it 3 seconds.
There you go. There's a good point. Yeah. All right. Well, there's a good point. Yeah. I mean, I'll take my 100X and sell the top, or maybe 50X or 30X and sell the top in 2025 or the end of 24 if you want to believe in Sami's curse, if you watched his recent video. And I'll take my 50X, and then I'll sit and wait. I'll put it in some real estate, earn some cash flow while we're waiting, maybe do some yield farm on some stable coins while we're waiting. And then we're going to go through this kind of like market cycle again, and then come back in. And then that's how maybe you can get your 1,000X by playing the game like that. You could maybe get your 1,000X on your money. I wouldn't see why not.
That's fair. I agree. And shout out to Stratton. Stratton's one of our real estate friends. He's on today. So appreciate you being here, Stratton. Appreciate you guys everybody else here being on the show as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Buck's Bleak 50X Pulse prediction? Yeah, Corey, hey, this is bullish. Buck was saying a 10X. So if he's saying 50X, that's bullish.
The narrative's kind of changed, Dane. And I think it's because of narrative too on the we discussed about how I was hanging out with these sharks out here in Puerto Rico, and we we're kind of doing chain analysis, and it was really cool. The narrative's changing because we are seeing some whales capitulate out of the top end of the sacrifice set. And that's kind of why they're getting a little bit more bullish, where Buck's talking about a 50X versus a 10X. And so maybe this continues to happen, EP. We don't know how much of we need a lot more whales and sharks to capitulate out, to bring that money. You want to bring that money down into the hands of multiple dolphins and squids, maybe even a little bit of some turtles, if you have enough turtles spread across the ecosystem. And that's what happens. That money kind of the transfer of wealth happens. The whale's got his 5X, 3X, maybe a 10X if he's really lucky with all his multiplier bonus. And so that money transfers over, and we need a lot more of that, in my opinion, to see like the big gains, 100X, 1,000X. 1,000X is not out of the question, but we need a lot of capitulation. That's all. And I think it was Pulse Dreams. I loved what he said when he was on our show, and I can't quote him perfectly, but man, he had struck the nail on the head. He goes, if you're looking for 1000x, you're just going to be waiting a lot longer because you have to wait your turn. You're just going to have to wait your turn. And like you had said earlier, Dane, maybe that's 2 market cycles waiting for your turn. And so we just don't know, right? And so the more capitulation we see out of these whales and sharks, especially the upper sharks, then the more opportunity we have for the higher pumps, the higher gains. And that's just really, man, that's just markets, and that's how markets work, right? You know, the guy who sacrificed $1 million doesn't need 1000x. I am sorry, he doesn't need it. And even though the community wanted to sell you on that narrative, oh, the guy who sacrificed $1 million, he's got diamond hands. Bullshit. It is the opposite. It is the exact opposite. Well, he's a Hexican. So he's not a human being. He's not a person. As a Hexican with diamond hands, some like a different no, they're people. This is how people are. I don't care what community. So you just, yeah, careful with the narratives. And EP, I think we can do more. I'm going to be with you on that. We can go way more in a 50x. It can happen, man, but we just got to see what happens with these whales and upper sharks. So, and
I don't think Richard built Pulse and Pulsex to only do a 50x.
So, no, he did not. He's not going to brag about 50x.
Yeah, so I'm confident in more than a 50x. But that being said, we've packed our bags in such a way that if we could get a 20, a 30, a 40x, like we'll be really pleased. And in fact, we went out to lunch with one of our really good friends, Frank, yesterday in Chicago, and we were talking.
Frank, I love that guy.
Yeah, Frank's great. Shout out to Frank. And I think that, and he mentioned, you know, like it would suck to in a couple of years to look back and think, man, I wish I would have played my hand stronger. I would have put in more money early on. And the way that Corey and I, our feedback was that, you know, like we are playing our hands as strong as humanly possible right now. We will not have regret looking back and saying, we wish we would have put in more money because we put it all in. Like we're going. And I feel good about that. We can always make more money if we lose it. But, you know, play, like Sami says, play your hand strong early on in things that you believe in. And I feel like we're here for more than a 50x.
Agreed, 120%. And I am playing strong, man. That's why I'm moving to Puerto Rico. You're moving to Puerto Rico. This is part of the play, right? Like playing the hand, right? And because we really believe down to our bones, we are in the right place at the right time. This is the right ecosystem to be playing in. And it's just going to be, the opportunity is just going to be tremendous when we're going into this next market cycle. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. What's up, Norbert?
Oh, boy, Norbert.
Hey. Hello, gentlemen. You okay?
Good to see
you. He's always driving. Why are you always
driving?
That time of day?
Someone has to. You know, I'm still working, man. I mean, I'm just after work, but yeah. I prefer this one compared to public transport.
No,
I got my own little bubble, you know, like I can talk to you. There's no one around me. So, yeah. How you feeling, guys?
We're feeling good, man. What are your thoughts on a 50x Pulse? Do you feel like that is that a little light? Do you think that's about right? What are your thoughts?
Well, I certainly hope so that we're gonna do a 50x. That means I'm gonna be closer to my it's not retirement, but you know, like free life. You know, like living life on your own terms, and you know, like not answering anyone anymore.
I want to kind of stop you there for a minute because you have built your portfolio in a way where a 50x will change you and your family's life forever versus building it in a way where you need 1000x or a 10,000x before your life can look differently. So you're building your portfolio on a very realistic expectation. And I love that, Norbert. I love that. I wanted to point that out there.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I heard that you, oh yeah, okay. So answer your question, 50x. I mean, anything is possible, but I was thinking about this last time we got disconnected. So I'm not thinking that the market can only go up. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because I watched back the program back, and then you're saying like, oh, if I'm suspecting that the market only going up is not really ideal. I'm not expecting the market keep going up all the time, but I started discussing quite a few things with friends and like associates recently, and it all depends on what the people and the market will allow to happen.
Yep.
Because if everyone is looking back at the last few years, just look back at 5 years, yeah, and then you see that okay, so 20% of the guys are really well off, and the rest is like some of them has regrets, some of them became long-term holders of the shit coins, just like myself, some of them, and like the way I see it is if humankind is becoming smarter and smarter and evolution is happening, then they're gonna be like, okay, you know what, until now it was like 100x, 1000x, whatever. Now I'm okay with 10x or 20x, and I'm out of here. So it depends if the market will allow this to happen, then we will see a 50x or 100x. But if not, then people are gonna be like more realistic and like, okay, so that grand I put into Pulsechain sacrifice is not gonna turn out to be 1000x. I'm not gonna be a millionaire. But if I take a 50x on it, then it's 50 grand after tax and everything. Let's say 40 grand. So it's still a nice money. It's not a life-changing money, but still a nice money. So it all depends on how the people will see this thing. But at the same time, if we because we still don't have liquid loans, for example, which in my eyes that's gonna be market changing protocol. So if those kind of things gonna come up more and more, then people will be like, okay, now we have a new system. Let's use the system to our advantage. And at the same time, like the other point I wanted to make last time, that we don't necessarily have to cut down the trees to harvest the fruit. All we need to do is just keep harvesting the fruit, keep watering the trees. Oh my God. Keep making sure that, the soil is fertile and things like that. So, instead of everyone taking the 50x and say, okay, I'm out of here, maybe we can use those protocols for everyone's benefit. And that's why that was my point last time, that if everyone becomes more mature and more well-educated, and, we all have to change as individuals for the crypto market to thrive. Otherwise, it's going to be like a let's grab and go kind of thing, and then we're not going to attract the big money, because they're going to be like, okay, so am I going to buy Corey's bag when Hex going to be 50 cents? I don't want to be that guy. So, and even that's as a mentality of the people. Okay, so last time 50 cents, it's going to be 50 cents or I just do it until.
It's breaking up a little bit, but a great take. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good take. Yeah,
we got a Brizology in the audience. I love the
Brizology.
He's an OG. Brizology, if you want to hop in here and bring some commentary to the conversation, sure, we would love it. But E just broke 1900. BTC is knocking on 31K. Let's see how the Pulsechain reacts. Yeah. Obviously, it kind of reacts last, in my opinion, but let's see if some of that liquidity flows over.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, Norbert's back. There you go. You broke up a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, and he's gone.
He'll be back.
Man, I thought my Puerto Rico internet was bad. That makes me feel bullish for mine.
Driving around, yeah, it's tough. No, I think this is a fair comment. I mean, truth be told, if you only have $1,000 to work with, you're a pleb. We've been plebs ourselves, just like you indicated here, Beachwell. So, yeah, we don't say that as a derogatory term. We're more referencing just the smaller bag holders. We've been there before, too. And I'm telling you, I think that I think that so many people are hoping that crypto is going to make it so they never need to work again. And if it does, I think that's a beautiful thing. I think a better approach is to instead focus on finding ways to generate capital where you're happy. You see, I've seen some excellent posts on Twitter where people, they're talking about, oh, if I go make millions of dollars in crypto, well, I'll still do the same things that I'm doing today because I enjoy doing them. And there's a really unique value proposition where you can find purpose in doing things that you enjoy and find a way to monetize those things. I think perspective is everything. I've heard the analogy before, and Tim Bratz at the event we were at yesterday said it, but he gave an analogy of a fisherman. Fisherman goes out. He has his morning catch. He comes in on this little fishing village, and this VC guy that's there vacationing comes up and sees the catch, and he says, "Wow, this is incredible. What do you do with all the fish?" And the fisherman says, "Oh, well, we take them home and we keep what we need to keep, and then I take the extra and we sell them to my neighbors and friends and whoever else, and that's how I make money." And he says, "Oh, how long did it take for you to catch all the fish?" And the guy says, "Oh, just a few hours. I go out every morning, I catch a few fish, and then I come back." And the VC guy says, "Well, what do you do with your time when you get back?" And he says, "Oh, well, I go home, I make lunch for my wife, I spend time with our kids, I take a nap, and then in the evenings we go out to our local meetup area where we drink wine and play guitar and we dance together." And the VC guy says, "Well, tell you what, I've scaled lots of businesses. I know how business works. Why don't you, instead of just fishing for a couple hours in the morning, why don't you spend the whole day tomorrow? Why don't you spend the whole day fishing? You could bring in so many more fish and sell a bunch more and make more money." And the fisherman says, "Oh, okay, well then what? What's next?" The guy says, "Well, after you do that, you do it consistently, you'll be able to make enough money that you can buy a larger boat." And the fisherman says, well, then what's next after that?" And he says, "Well, after you get a larger boat, you can bring in more fish. And over time, you'll be able to build a fleet of vessels to bring in more and more fish." He says, "Okay, well, then what's next after that?" And the story progresses to a point where you build this this gigantic business that you take public and you make tons of money. And then the fisherman says, well, what's next after that?" And then the VC guy says, "Well, then you can move to a small fishing town where you can fish a few hours in the morning. You can make lunch for your wife, spend time with the kids, and then go to the local hangout in the evening where you drink wine, play guitar, and dance with your friends." And so perspective is everything. And I think there's a lot to be said. And Corey and I have been there. We've had times where we both thought we were going to go out of business. If you've seen our previous shows, I mean, I had a point in time in my real estate career where I'd been laid off and I'd spent almost all of my family's resources in trying to generate real estate leads. And it really, you become incredibly dangerous when you get to a place where you have to perform, where you have to make something happen. And I find that's usually where the magic happens. That's where the turning points in life happen. And when that happened to me, my work level went up through the roof because it had to, because I wasn't willing to sacrifice the life that we had at that point. And my experience is not everybody's, but I spent 6, 7, almost 8 months before I really made real estate pop. And in one transaction, I made $70,000 because I applied myself and I worked hard. Now, I understand my experience is not everybody's, but I'm telling you guys, anybody can go make a few dollars. Go to real estate conferences, go to crypto meetups, go to anywhere that you may be interested. And I promise you'll find someone that is far dumber than you, that's making way more money than you're making. I promise. And I think that's such a beautiful thing because it really points out to me the fact that there's so much opportunity out there to be able to go and change your life, to have the finances that you want, to have the freedom that you're seeking if you just apply yourself. Now, once again, it's easier said than done. We've done it. We understand. But man, like, you can do this. You can put yourself in a position, elevate your life where you are not a pleb, We've all been there, but level up. It's time. There's never been more opportunity in our lives.
Love it. Norbert's back. Let's see if he
Oh yeah, so I'm back in. You're back.
Yeah, sorry guys, I bought a new phone and it's so hot today. It's like I don't know, it's in Fahrenheit. It's like 30 degrees in London, and yeah, the phone just gave up. It was too much for streaming and things like that. So I missed quite a few bits. But what I lost you guys is I'm sure there is enough money in crypto as long we just have to become like good farmers, good people who look after their own investments, their own farms, their own trees. Keep nurture it, keep water it, keep look after it, and do what it's meant to be done. Not like grab and go. I don't think it's a good approach to. And then we could thrive, and that could be the new way of, even if it's just helping out in your monthly costs. Let's say it can give you, I don't know, 2-3K a month. That's already a massive help. You don't need to retire completely, but you can, cut down your current job to part-time, make it half, whatever you do right now. And crypto can do the other half for you, and use that money and interact with individuals like you guys, do some, meetups and exchange ideas. The more you're networking, the more you can harvest in the future, as long as you have a good heart and you treat people right. That's how I met this guy the other day in the sauna. We started talking about crypto and investments and da-da-da. And then he was saying that he does Forex. So now he's teaching me how to fish. And he's doing it because, I'm not expecting anything from him, and he's not expecting anything from me. It's just the conversation was so interactive and so on an upper level that we both get really good connection at the first time. And just like the way how you met as well, it's a good story. You met through a seminar kind of thing when property developers and investors were exchanging ideas, and you had a good vibe between the two of you, and like, oh hey, why don't we do things together in the future? And look at you now.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, your network is your net worth. If you guys haven't heard that saying, live and die by that. Your network is your net worth. And I'm telling you, it blows my mind. I mean, I could talk about this till I'm blue in the face. It blows my mind how many people, they talk about how they're financially starving, but they don't want to go. I promise you, when I was financially starving, if you drove a Lambo, you better believe that I was approaching you and asking you what you did and how you did it. If you had a nice watch, same thing. If you had premium clothing, same thing. Like I have no ego about this. If you know more than I do and you've accomplished big things, then I want to freaking know about it so I can try to tap into what you're doing, and I want to bring value to you as well. And I promise you, if you apply yourself that way, you can't help but become one of those people. Whatever may interest you, whether it be watches or whatever. I'm very interested in wealth. But whatever it may be, I mean, there's so many people, and I'm telling you, I can't think of a single experience where I approached somebody that was far more well off than me, and they didn't want to give back in some way. Now, it didn't mean they wanted to go hire me and pay me a bunch of money right out of the gates or anything like that, but they want to give back. Like most everyone wants to do that. There's never been a bigger opportunity in our life, and frankly, in the history of the world, to have opportunities than today. You can change your life today if you choose to start working on your mindset. And me and Corey are prime examples of that. Me and Corey are not the brightest people in the world. We don't come from glorified backgrounds, with wealthy parents and all that type of stuff. And so like you can figure it out. I promise.
Yeah, and you're the byproduct of your 5 closest friends. They have done studies where, like, with the network that you hang out with and the friends that you have, they've done studies where, like, almost everyone in that group was relatively making the same amount of money. Like, so, like, if you could plug yourself into other groups that maybe you might need to cut out some old friends with who are more toxic, maybe they go out and drink a lot, maybe they're just like being stuck in their ways. And if you like go out there and upgrade your network, literally your life over time will upgrade too. And so, that's why I'm very selective on the people I hang out with and the people who I'm talking to on a regular everyday basis, because I know that their mindset and the way they feel about life will come in and intrude inside my mindset and the way I feel about life. You really don't have a choice on how that affects you. It does affect you, but you have a choice on who you plug yourself in with and who you decide to be around every single day. It is a crucial part of being successful.
Absolutely. This is a great question. So, are you still more bullish on Pulsex? I mean, I would say that we like Pulsex. We're excited about it. I think one of the things that's interesting to consider is you can create a lot of competition for Pulsex on Pulsechain. Like, you can create additional dexes in order to take liquidity and do different things. And you can't do another layer one. You can't do another layer one blockchain on Pulsechain. So I think there's something to be said about that. We like Pulsex. I mean, Corey and I both hold pretty large bags. Now, certainly there's people that hold bigger, but we hold pretty large positions. That being said, since we hold those positions, I'll let Corey speak for himself, but I think we're pretty well doing the same thing where we're very focused on the layer one. We're very focused on Pulsechain. There's very few things on layer one blockchains that did well, that outperformed the layer one. And so there's a lot of wisdom, I think, in buying the layer one when it's cheap like it is now.
Yeah, and there's going to be times when one will outdo the other. And there might be a time, guys, where you can see Pulsex pump, and this could happen like when the single-sided staking, right, comes out. That whole narrative could pump Pulsex to where maybe we hit like a 1-to-1 type ratio to Pulse. And it could happen. It may not happen. But there will be times in through our journey where one will outperform the other. But I mean, for me, man, I just want Pulse, man. I'm going to keep building my bag in Pulse. All my DCA moving forward is Pulse. That's where I my heart lies right now, this ecosystem. And that's because we do have some bags packed with the Pulsex, and we have our bags packed in Hex. If those bags weren't packed, then maybe I feel differently. Like when I do a DCA, maybe I do like a 40-40-20, or maybe it's a 60-30, 10, whatever is right for you. And so, like, it depends on how your bags look, and it's different for everybody, because we get asked this question all the time. But like, since I'm satisfied with where I'm at in the position of Pulsex and where I'm at in my Hex, like any new money, even though I'm satisfied with Pulse, still any new money is going into Pulse.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's the safest, highest upside bet in the RH ecosystem as things currently stand right now. And in fact, Allison asked, what's your buying strategy? So one of the things that you can do, and I like this a lot. Let me share it with you guys. So if you come over here on Fux, if you haven't looked at Fux, it's a pretty cool protocol. All right. Okay. So if you come over here on Fux, it's essentially a fork of Balancer, which is a DEX, a decentralized exchange. And it's unique because you can come in and you can provide liquidity in a pool with multiple assets, more than 2 assets. You can create a basket of assets, which is unique. And the cool thing about that is you can offset risk and hold a bag of everything that you're interested in one place. So for instance, if I and we did this the other day with one of our guys in our group. He's somebody that's a really high level operator. He's done $1.5 billion in real estate during his tenure. And so he wants to have some passive income, and he doesn't want to spend a ton of time managing things. And so what we did is we said, hey, why don't you come in and be part of this RH Maxi pool? And I really like the splits on this. It's 40% Pulse, 25% Pulsex, 20% Hex on Pulse, 10% Hex on ETH, and 5% Ink. And the way that these pools work is the heavier weighted token is the one that it should be the one that you anticipate potentially doing the best. And so I really like how this pool's weighted. I think this is a decent guide to potentially, we don't give financial advice here. But I think this is an interesting example of some relatively smart people that put together this mix of assets. And I think that there could be some wisdom in positioning in these percentages if you believed in the RH ecosystem and you liked his tokens. So I like this blend a lot. And if you wanted to, you could go ahead and just get into this pool with these assets. You'd have this bag, and you could earn some yield. So
it'll blend it for you.
Yep.
Even if you're like more heavy in Pulsex and you're like, oh, I would like a little exposure across the other, you can come in here and add a one side, and it will end up blending your assets accordingly. So it's really cool. I'm super bullish on this protocol, man. I've moved my liquidity. Now, this is not financial advice, and you all make your own decisions. But like in my Pulse and PulseX liquidity over on PulseX, I've moved it over to the RH Max. I like that RH Max pool. It's I feel like it's super. It's got everything has downside risk when it comes to permanent loss, but they've really kind of covered their basis in that basket of assets on the downside and permanent loss risk that you can take, and and earn, like you said, that juicy yield while you're doing it. And I'm super bullish on the Fux token right now. It's doing amazing, and I want to get as much as I possibly can because I do like the PH ecosystem as a whole. My thoughts on it.
And this is cool. Check this out. So if you came in here, and let's say that you just had some of these assets and you wanted to get in. So this is like a kind of like an index fund for crypto.
It is.
It's all of the RH tokens, and they're weighted in such a way where it weights more heavily to the layer one, which historically that should be a pretty decent bet. And so if you wanted to, you could come in here to this pool. If you liked this one, you could press add liquidity, and you'll notice that if let's say you only have Pulse, for instance.
Yep.
Let's see if it's going to let me, since I don't hold it.
You might want to type it in, Dane. Being that you don't have it in your wallet, it should let you.
Yeah, I don't have anything in here. Maybe it's not going to let me.
Click on the next to the zero. If you click on that zero, it won't let you fill in. No, the other zero. The zero, the main zero, the big zero.
Like right here?
No. Next to it. See the zero over. Go to the right. Take your cursor over to the right. Up there. There's that zero. Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah. Click there. Yeah. You can type it in.
Yeah. Perfect. Good call.
And pretend you're pretending.
Yeah. Pretend. So if you came in here and say that you had some PHEX and let's say that's it. Let's say you had $1,300, $1,400 worth of PHEX. And you said, hey, I want to get in here and be part of this pool, and all I'm going to do is put in my PHEX, with the understanding that if you do that, it's going to go ahead and you're going to experience some slippage. Yes. So 0.54%, which isn't much. And what it's going to do, what the protocol is going to do, is it's going to take this PHEX and it's going to sell some of it to balance it across these other assets when you put this in. And then you'll have a mixed bag of the Richard Hart tokens, and it'll decrease the volatility, which can be both a good and a bad thing, depending upon what you think is going to do well. But this is a pretty conservative way to get exposure to Richard Hart tokens. And I like this a lot for new onboards, for no coiners. I like this. And I would say for even probably the general masses, if you want some exposure to Richard Hart's assets, I think this is a pretty solid way to do it.
Agreed. Because then you don't have to think about which one should I put more money in, which one should I you're just getting exposure to the whole entire ecosystem, which most of it moves up in unison together. Not all of it. Obviously, we see the Ink token getting demolished right now. But that would, if you were in this, that Ink token getting demolished wouldn't really affect you too much, which is really cool. But my Ink and Pulse pool, I'm getting slaughtered.
Sure. And it's cool if you don't like this price impact. So let's say you're a bigger player, though. Let's say you've got there we go. So here's a good example. You've got $137,000 in PHEX, and you want to put in this pool. All you do is PHEX then you're gonna impact the price a lot and experience some pretty considerable slippage at this amount. And so what you could do if you're a larger player is you can come in here and you could click proportional suggestion. You'll notice as I do that, it'll decrease the price impact. You could see price impact going down. And there you go. If you add to all of these, then it'll build it in such a way that you experience almost no price impact if you put in all of these assets. And so it's up to you. You can use these however you may or may not see fit. Cool. All right, Corey. Well, that's a pretty good show. That's probably a decent place to wrap it up. Is there anything you want to add on before we do?
Just, we appreciate everybody in the audience here. I see Josh. He's in our group. He's a great buddy of ours. He was just out here in Puerto Rico. And EP and Jim, thank you. And Sloth and Red Squirrel, my man, always in here giving us support. So we appreciate it, guys. It's Friday. Enjoy your weekend with your family. Ignore the Twitter FUD. Get out there and live your life. Provide value to the world and your community to earn more money so you can come in and not have to use crypto as a complete lottery, right? Let's use crypto, to generate wealth, but let's not rely on a 10,000x. I mean, I hope we get it, guys. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see it because I'm going to be buying islands around Puerto Rico. I'm going to buy Hexico. If we get a 10,000x, I am buying an island and it's going to be called Hexico, and that's where we're going. But it's fun to talk about, but let's go out there and provide value, build up our wealth the way that the world was intended for us to build it. And then we can, create a magnifying glass of our wealth with crypto. That's the way I like to think of it. And so, it's going to be a blast. And guys, next week will be fun. We got, like I said, we have a good show coming up with Mr. Buck Fiat and Dylan. We're going to dive deep and ask a lot of questions about the Flux protocol. Me and Dane have a bunch of questions about how the inner workings work down more on a granular level. It'd be fun to hear what he's got to say about it, and then just talk about his Brizology, man. If you think we're gonna do 1,000x, then I'm on board.
we're here for it.
You got the experience. So it would be fun to talk about Buck and his ideologies with the 10x and why now he's at 50x and how he thinks how this all could play out. We'll push against them, guys. We'll push against them for you to kind of break down the narrative a little bit and see how he can explain to us and educate us why he's such in the camp of the more lower X's. So it'll be fun to do just for education of me and Dane and you guys. So thank you so much, guys. We appreciate it. Spend time with your families. Go out there and create value to the world. And we'll see you on Monday.
Yep, absolutely. We'll see you guys then.